Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sobering Truth podcast, a project of the Arkansas Family Coalition. I'm Joyce Cook, and my co-host is
Bob Hester.
And we wanted to give you an update on the meeting at the Quorum Court, the Cricket County Quorum Court, last Monday night. And Bob, can you give us an update on that? What happened there?
Well, it was a good outcome. But let me preface this with saying what we're be talking about most of the day will be local issues, but we're most of the time the overall alcohol issue is relevant to everybody in the United States. So, and this will be in a sense, but this is these are local issues, right? That will be talking about mostly today, local and state. But ultimately, the overall goal is to educate people in the whole United States about the terrible effects of all the alcohol that's being used and abused in the United States. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're in Dry County here, and the city of Jonesboro is in this county, and we'll get into the details of why this is the way it is, but they have about 77 alcohol permits in a dry county, a county where the people, in a city where the people voted not to sell alcohol. Alcohol is being sold everywhere in Jonesboro and a couple places out, small towns in Craighead County. This Quorum Court had a hearing for an application this past Monday night, and it was soundly defeated. It didn't get any motion to accept, and when it does not get that, then it dies. And this was the second one, and really all they have to do is what they did Monday night, is simply not make a motion to accept. They don't have to do anything that they can that'll cause them to get sued or cause them, just don't make a motion to sit there, like the great job that they did this Monday night. The thing about it, the city council could have done the same thing, yet they didn't do it, and we've got 77 of these, and I think, am I right, we've got 6 pending?
I think so. I saw that figure. Yeah, they just have to say no to it, but now that they've got it started, they're afraid not to do it.
Well, I think they could. It's kind of late in the game, but the next one's up, and I think they had one up this week. An application. All they have to do is sit there and like a knot on the log and not say anything, because then it would fail. They don't have to. Somebody on the council is making a motion to accept these, and then the council as a whole are voting to approve them. That's nonsense. That's irrational.
I know, and it is going against the will of the people.
And that's the key thing. The people have voted, and again, we'll get into some more details about this. How this whole thing is just a false. This whole private club is a law is just false from the word go. And as we go along here today, we'll get into some of that, and we may end up taking 2 programs to cover everything. But yeah, it's they're using something that's illegitimate. It's an illegitimate law. And but they're using it to fill our dry counties, places where people voted no by large margin. Here in Craighead County, the last vote they had was 2-1 against selling alcohol. But yet they're selling alcohol all over Jonesboro, and they're wanting to do it all over Craighead County now. But that was a great thing Monday night. We appreciate those members of that committee that that were wise enough to realize they don't have to vote to approve this, and then it will die. Then they don't have to vote against it. They just don't have to vote for it.
That's right. They had, I applaud them for that, and for just not allowing it to get into the county, because I was going to ask you about the history of that. Can you go over that again, the history of the...
Yeah, I will, and it will take a while, but it's so simple. This is not rocket science. It's so simple that even I can understand it. All they got to do is nothing to stop these things. Just from the beginning, before they've got so many, it's just don't approve them, and it's a done deal. But yet they've done what we just got through talking about.
Right.
Now, what was your question, Joyce, about the private club whole issue?
Yeah, it goes back. I know we've talked about right after the war, they voted the county dry.
After Prohibition in 1933 ended in 1933, all counties in Arkansas were automatically wet. Everything was wet.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, yes. Then the people did. That's what Initiated Act means. Of the people. They did Initiated Act 1 in 1942. That gave all the counties. That didn't make all the state dry. It just gave the counties a right to decide for themselves whether they wanted to sell alcohol or not. And as a result, I believe it's 44 to 31, something like that. 75 counties, somewhere in that vicinity. A majority of them voted to be dry.
Be dry. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so that was they did that because of Initiated Act 1. Then in 1969, a law was, I'll use this word, illegally passed. It really didn't pass.
That was under Rockefeller.
Under Rockefeller. Rockefeller thought this would be good. It would be good for tourism to sell alcohol. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the country clubs were already illegally selling alcohol, but the law wasn't being enforced. So Rockefeller said he wanted this. It was Act. What is that Act? 1. No, that was Initiated Act 1. It was Act 132, mm-hmm. And in '69, and so he told the country club people, said, "You get on board with me, help me get this passed, or I'll shut you down."
That was the Morris versus Torch Club.
That was a case that came out of that. Mm-hmm. This was Act 132. That was the original private club law, and he was, like I said, pushed under Rockefeller. But it needed a supermajority in the legislature to become law because it was changing, initiated. It didn't just need a majority, like a one vote. It was changing the vote of the people. So they needed a supermajority. So apparently they can override the vote of the people with a supermajority, but it did not get that supermajority vote. Excuse me.
But it still passed.
Well, it didn't pass. It lacked 3 votes, but Rockefeller signed it in law, and it became law, in spite of the fact that it did not pass.
Right.
So that is the basis of this private club law in the first place. So it really is a legitimate start with. It did
all the way back to then.
All the way back to then. It did not pass.
You know what that reminds me of? Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
You got something to say about Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is she?
Yes, I do. I like some things she's done, but in 2023 she signed Senate Bill 472 into law, and that allows state parks to sell liquor, even in dry counties. Now, if that's not going against the people, just like Rockefeller did, and it was all in the name of tourism.
Same thing same excuse Rockefeller used.
Yes, that's why it reminded me of that.
So if alcohol if it's good for tourism, why don't we just open it up and put it anywhere and everywhere people want to put it? If it's so good for tourism, we'd really have tourists in, wouldn't we?
You would think.
But what would we have to go with it?
Well, I can tell you some.
All right.
Well, okay. Did you know that every day 34 people in the United States die in drunk driving accidents? That's 1 in every 42 minutes.
I'm aware of that, but I doubt that most people are aware of that.
No, they don't think of it.
And that is incredible.
That's
incredible. People need to think about that. Think about it, because that can be your
loved one
or your loved ones.
Yes. And that comes out to 12,429 people. How many families does that affect? And, for all 50 states, and I believe it was in D.C. and Puerto Rico, the level is 0.08, the blood alcohol level. But even a small amount can affect driving ability, and I've got, it's on the National Highway Transportation Safety Association's page, and even 0.02, that's way below it. It says that the effects on driving, it declines, you have a decline in visual functions, decline in ability to perform 2 tasks at the same time. I mean, it's just like there's no safe amount of alcohol for your body. There's no amount safe to drive.
There's not, and I've got a BAC chart that I will use at some point in one of our podcasts, and it shows how few drinks it takes to get to that .08. It's just amazing it depends on the weight of the person.
It does,
the size of the person,
yeah.
but it's amazing how little it takes to get to that point.
Right.
And I'll show that one of these times on this. If you got something else about what was that you showed me earlier about Sarah Huckabee, the reason that she gave for
Yeah, it was tourism.
no, but something about kids.
Oh, it was there was a story that I was looking on, and it said something about it was talking about her husband had mentioned something about it would enhance tourism, and then right after that it said let's see, it said it would get kids off their screens, and then all the only other thing that it said was it would lower the price of their fishing license for kids.
So selling alcohol in parks
It's going to enhance
is going to get kids.
off of their.
I guess they'll go out and start drinking instead of being on their.
I guess
Is that
so.
what she meant? I mean, I don't.
I don't
That
know.
is a weird statement.
It really is. It's like everybody's gone alcohol crazy.
Absolutely. It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. If you get anything else there, did you have some stories there you wanted to relate about? Is now a good time to do that?
I did. You don't have to look far to find these. These are on Channel 8. It just took me just a few minutes.
And let me again, we're talking sort of local here, but you can find these in any state in the United States stories similar to this on
Every
practically
day.
a daily basis.
Every day. This lady in Jonesboro, she had she crashed her car. She had a .31 blood alcohol level with a child in the car, and that's 4 times nearly the legal limit. And now I look back, I told the story of being in the car with my mom. Back then they didn't have these child endangerment laws, which it's a felony, and she was charged with that, for endangering that child. And that's just one of them. And, what else could have happened? Then there was this woman, it's also on Channel 8, woman charged with child endangerment following 5th DWI arrest.
5th.
Her 5th, and it says it was her 5th offense within 10 years. So what's happening with these people? They just get back in the car to kill people and maybe kill their kids?
Which emphasizes the point that something needs to be done. This is incredible that somebody can do that and then get back in the vehicle and do it again and then do it again and do it again. And that's just one example you give them out there. But how many more? There are a lot more out there across the nation that are doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And nothing's basically done about it. The MAD organization has done a lot of good work through the years, and they have helped make laws. It's Mothers Against Drunk Driving, so they've helped make laws against drunk driving better, but it has not solved the problem. We maintain that we have to do some other things to take some stronger steps to deal with this than just passing laws. But one thing, according to what they said here in Craighead County, that they don't even put DWIs in jail because the jail's full. They don't even put them in jail anymore. They turn them back out immediately. If I understood that right. So
right.
There's basically no recourse for dealing with these folks, and even the people who are doing the drinking and doing these things, the alcohol is destroying their lives. It's not potential what they will do to other people, to their kids, to people that they do on the road, but to their own lives and their own selves that they're damaging and destroying.
Yeah.
So it affects them just as much or more than it does the people that they potentially hurt on the streets and highways.
It damages the family. And there's another one I saw. This is also on K8. Man accused of impregnating child receives probation. Says a Jonesboro man who blamed alcohol for impregnating a child in 2024 pleaded guilty this week to a lesser charge. Said on Thursday, July 17th, Second Judicial Judge Scott Elliott sentenced him to 12 months of probation. Let's see. But let's see. What was I? Yeah, here it is right here. According to the affidavit, Gibson admitted during a Mirandized interview that he had been drinking heavily the night he visited the child's family and, quote, admitted having sexual intercourse with her. So he blamed the alcohol on it. Mm-hmm. So.
And alcohol plays. If he hadn't been drinking, he probably wouldn't have done it. He's ultimately responsible. He did it himself. He chose to drink that alcohol.
He did.
But and those are results. You could fill the Empire State Building with, if each story was on a single sheet of paper, you could fill the Empire State Building full of stories like that.
Right.
Different kinds of stories about alcohol and the effects and the dangers it causes. But then the state officials, ABC board, city council, thank God the Quorum Court has not done it here in Craighead County, turn around and fill the county up again with alcohol sold all over the place when it's not to be sold, period, in a dry county, and sold all over the place, resulting in more people becoming alcoholics, doing these type of things, even if they don't get it to the point. And they, some people don't think that these restaurants produce any consequences like that. That's wrong. Here in Jonesboro, the one man, this was at sort of one of the watering holes, but anyway, he got hit on Caraway, but he wasn't drugged, and killed him. And the guy had been drinking had been drinking at one of the downtown restaurants.
Right.
And then there was another guy got shot downtown. But there are other instances where people in these big restaurants, they can drink about as much as they want to, and that when they get out on the road, that's going to impact their ability to drive. And so the point is, the city council, not in just, we know about Jonesboro more because we're here, but all over the state of Arkansas. And again, it's possible, we don't know exactly what's going on the other states, but I'm sure things like this are happening. We do plan to research and find out what the laws in other states are and what's going on as much as possible, so we can reach out and try to work with other people in other states. But to proliferate alcohol that does things like this is just almost unbelievable if they would do that. It is. It's a terrible thing to do. But anyway, is that the last of your stories there? If it is, we'll get back into this, how they're circumventing the will of the people through these private clubs and giving all these restaurants this ability to sell alcohol. They call it private clubs. It's when you can come from Timbuktu, Washington, D.C., or California, and come to Jonesboro and walk into a restaurant, so-called private club, and drink all the booze you want to, basically, and walk out without ever signing anything. That's real private. I guess that's about as private as you can get, I mean, really
I know.
Private. And then they say, well, it's nonprofit. Nobody in their right mind believes that these places are nonprofit.
Don't some of them try to make themselves look better by giving charity and
They say they're going to. How much they do, I don't know.
Yeah.
They may give a little, but
scholarships or whatnot.
Yeah, I would guess it would be very little. But yes, they try to do that. But they are selling it. They're making a profit of it, and a profit off of it. And nobody, whether it's a judge, or a governor, or a mayor, or a city council, or a quorum court, or the man on the street, nobody knows anything, believes that's nonprofit.
No.
So it's supposed to be nonprofit, private. It's neither one. It's a mockery, and I'm fixing to prove just what a marker it is. Now,
Okay.
here is, I'm going to set this aside for the time being, right here. And you go back to this initiated act. We started out with Initiated Act 1 that gave the people right to determine the status of their county, whether it be wet or dry. And then we came along with Rockefeller doing this Act 132, I believe it was, and which did not pass the legislature, but using it anyway, and it became law, using it as law to grant private club status to these, which some of these, at that time, some of these places like 501 Club, different ones, they were legitimate private clubs. They were still breaking the law. They still had no right to sell alcohol. They were selling alcohol, and we'll show that here in a little bit. But they had no right to do that. But they were genuine private clubs. Then in 2003, we'll get that in a little bit, is when they passed Act 1813 and started really filling up our counties with all these restaurants giving them right to sell alcohol. Mm-hmm. So anyway, in this initiated, not this initiated act, but this Act 132 passed by Rockefeller, or encouraged by Rockefeller, that did not pass, was not challenged immediately, but ultimately it was. This is the one you mentioned a while ago, Morris versus Torch Club. Mm-hmm. Now that's ironically, that was from Walnut Ridge, which is very near here. And Frank Lady, who was an attorney in Jonesboro, was their attorney. And I understand, and I was told that and no doubt that there was quite a few big, expensive attorneys on the pro-alcohol side against one little Frank Lady attorney. Yeah. And I think he made them dance a whole lot. Matter of fact, as a result of what they did, nobody came back to Lawrence County, Walnut Ridge, for years and years and years to make application for a private club.
Yeah.
They put a stop to it there. But then later on, in 2013, and that's when I got 2003. 2003. That's when I got involved with this, and so I've seen this all these irresponsible, illegitimate things play out for 23 years now, and that's the reason I've been mad for 23 years, and I'll stay mad about it as long as I live.
Because they're circumventing the law.
The vote of the people.
And unless we get a coalition of people working with us,
correct,
and the people just speak up so loud that they take notice of us. And I know there's people out there that think like we do. You know, they're acting like the politicians that are going, mostly Democrats, that are going around laws.
These people, these pro-alcohol people, they're outspoken and pushy and whatever. They never give up. And the people on our side, to a large extent, are silent. But yes, I believe they are out there, and that's what we want to educate them and get them to understand how illegitimate these things are and how their vote is being trampled on. Their vote is being ignored totally and completely. So this law, this Act 132, that was illegitimate, that did not pass, was challenged in 1988, and then it was Frank Lady, the people from Walnut Ridge, challenged it. Well, the judges, it went to the Supreme Court, and it was determined by a 4-3 vote that the people, I'll put it this way, one man, a judge, there was 4-3 votes, so that means one man would determine the will of the people was not important. Everywhere we look here, they're determining the will of the people is not important. It does not matter.
Yeah.
We're going to do this no matter what. So they're still in violation of Initiated Act 1. So in 2003, this Act 1813 was passed, and the purpose of it was to sell alcohol in large attendance facilities, not restaurants. Mm-hmm. And for the same reason, to facilitate or encourage to promote tourism.
Yeah.
Was, if you come and you have a convention, well, it's supposedly the alcohol there, well, whatever. But
or
anyway,
a concert or something.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, it further violated Act 1, Initiated Act 1 of the people. And so in 2004, the ABC Board interpreted that Act, 1813, and I was there when they did it. It was a case from Batesville. As a matter of fact, it was Iris's cousin Josie's was the name of the place, and Irish Cousin's one that had that made that application, and she wouldn't care for me saying that. But they made that determination that that they could because they added 5 words, and I forget what those words are. I don't think I have them right here in front of me right now. Claimed that law allowed them to give a permit to a restaurant that they could call themselves nonprofit, and
Instead of big venues.
yes, right, instead of large attendance facilities. So they made that determination, and from that point forward, now I've got some stuff I want to say about that. This challenge. This was let me back up. I kind of got ahead of myself. This Act 132, the challenge on. I want to quote what the dissenting judges. The dissenting judges says no, this is not right, and so they. There was Morse versus Torch Club, and the dissenting judges asserted, I want to quote this exactly, the majority has read our decision, the majority of the judges who voted that this was okay, the majority has read our decision to be an abandonment of any intention to enforce the Initiated Act of 1942, Initiated Act 1 of 1942. The majority of judges tries to finesse, and again, this is the dissenting judges saying this, the majority of judges tries to finesse the tough question, and that is, what about the liquor dispensed by these clubs to guests who are either given a drink or pay for it? Such a practice clearly violates the law. Mm-hmm. And it is a general practice in all clubs. All clubs are breaking the law. Every time a guest is served, the law is violated. The majority has no answer to this question. The majority opinion that the 4 judges that voted that it was okay, the majority has no answer to this question except to say it cannot read the law that way, while it does read that way. They're selling alcohol where they're not supposed to sell alcohol, in Dry County is where the people have voted dry.
It's like, to me, when they said the border is closed and all the illegals were coming across. They're letting all the liquor come in.
That's a pretty good analogy, I think. Going to quote this dissenting judge, there is no doubt private clubs can exist, and private clubs to exist is no problem. And possession and consumption of intoxicating liquors are not prohibited, but sales are. In other words, they can go have the private clubs, they can bring their alcohol, and they can drink it and whatever. And
I saw that. I didn't know that they couldn't sell it.
Yeah, they couldn't sell it. So there's no doubt private clubs can exist. Possession and consumption of intoxicating liquors are not prohibited, but sales are. The facts are that all clubs violate the law in letter and in spirit. The so-called revolving fund is a charade. The clubs sell their members drinks. So what we have are a multitude of clubs that exist that sell intoxicating liquor in violation of the Initiated Act 1, in violation of the people's votes. And I think our time's about up, so you got any closing comment, Joyce?
Well, I just want to let everybody know that our tagline is lowering the reputation of alcohol in the court of public opinion, and we'll continue this conversation next time.
Right.
And anybody that wants to, please put comments down below.
And don't forget our free booklet.
Yeah, we want to know what you think too.
Yes, absolutely.
So put some comments in there.